Why, hello there, my friends. Welcome back to the Tales of Amanlashe. I am so excited to see you here today, for we have another fantastic adventure, another story to tell. So, grab your meat, your ale, your snacks. Join us around the campfire as we tell the tale of Corporal Hazel Brittlebush. I am Bendus Silverheart, and I will be your weaver of mysteries, your artist of words, as we explore the very mystery of Amanlashe and all that thrive and live in it. A scream of pain erupts from an unknown room down the hallway. So loud, so frightened, so ear-splitting. A wave of noise is usually followed by a gurgling sound and the curses of a mysterious tormentor at yet another failed experiment. This was the worst time for the caged ones found in an unknown prison. In one cell rests a short rock gnome, bumbling about, whilst a stoic-looking dwarf with a severe eye injury sits quietly. In the other cell rests a rare creature, a fey-like being, who wonders as to why she's been brought here.
Another death. This was the worst time of the... Actually, I don't know how long I've been here. Whoever our tormentor is, they've gone to some extreme lengths to hide where we are, or even tell us what time it is. From the moment I was captured on patrol, I've been carried, carted by wagon, put afloat, and even forced to walk blindfolded with my hands bound. Once we arrived, my captors and I were so sleep deprived that our concept of time was all but lost.
We're all going to die here. That sick person is going to take us one by one to their torture chamber, and we'll all die at their hand. The gods have forsaken us.
Hold your tongue and grow a spine. Now that they've doubled us up in our cells, we can coordinate and fight back. All we have to do is muster the courage of Thurgok, and we will know freedom.
You're right. We've only seen the human, bugbear, and the masked one. Surely we can escape from the clutches together. I'm sorry, my hooved friend. Since you're by yourself, you'll have to fend for yourself. You must be longing for the plains, to gallop along with your fellow centaur.
I am not a centaur. I am a servitor, and a member of the Queen Mother's woodland warriors, Glorandal Dare Premier Fighting Force. Probably the reason why I'm bound and forced to lie like this at all times.
Hazel motions down to her deer-like body and the legs that are bound together. The humanoid torso that sits atop the Servadae body is that of a fair woman with soft features about her. Tight, bulging muscles throughout her arms betray her martial training, along with the almost piercing eyes that seemed as focused as a falcon's gaze.
The woodland warriors? They're some of the greatest fighters in all of Amanlashe. Hatar's namesake, how did they catch you?
With a look of great anger, Hazel remembers back to the moments before she was captured. The dwarves' civil war they had been fighting for over 300 years had yet again spilled over into Galando Tare, and had threatened the residents of the forest. Queen Mother Isilnor had charged the Hooves Company of the Woodland Warriors to take control of the border, and to bring security to the Emerald Forest. Hazel and her squad arrived to find the dwarves of various strongholds in their new arranged alliances, battling against each other with some villagers of Garandotare suffering from their combat. The sound of the dwarves' boomsticks echoing off the battlefield, a hazy, smoky, and fiery scene presents itself to the hooves.
Alright, wolves, we are here to move the conflict away from the forest and back to the sky rippers. Do not engage the dwarves unless absolutely necessary. Protect the villagers and keep the fires at bay. Move out!
Let's head over to the village center and evacuate everyone caught behind the fire. I'll search the buildings, you clear a path.
Let's do it.
Hazel and Camus went about their task, oblivious to the growing conflict from the dwarves' battle. Sentinel Awen was unsuccessful in making terms with either side, as the dwarves of Kales Hood Respectacht are being pushed further and further towards the forest. Many of the dwarves were even breaking ranks, fighting their way through the village towards the mountains in hopes to escape from capture or death.
Ah! Is that everyone?
I think so. But we have other problems. Look!
A group of deserters were rummaging through the village, taking what they wish, and killing more as they plundered through. At the head was a dwarf wearing the colors of Respectacht, stone armor depicting the image of one of their crass gods. Camus mounted Hazel as they charged towards the invaders. A barrage of arrows from Hazel's bow seeked their target as she galloped towards their enemies. About 15 feet from the lead dwarf and his boomstick, Hazel felt an odd burning sensation as a crystalline purple arrow sliced her bicep, and the weight of Camus fell off of her, causing Hazel to crash to the ground. The dwarf casually walked up to Hazel, points his boomstick at her, and cocks the weapon. Too bad, my friend. May you find peace in your eternal forest. With that, the dwarf starts to slowly pull at the trigger, when suddenly another purple arrow buries itself in his eye socket. He screams and howls in pain as a robed figure appears, knocking him down to the ground. Picking his stout frame up with ease, the robed figure looks down at Hazel with eyes like starlight, his face obscured in darkness. The mysterious figure lifts his boot, bringing it down on Hazel.
It was you!
I assume you mean that I caused you to be captured?
It was you and your cursed brethren that caused all of this. You and the rest of your ignorant, dwarvish civil war spilled into the Emerald Forest, which forced the Queen Mother's hand into sending us. You were killing innocent people, stealing their valuables, and destroying their homes. You pointed your boomstick at me with the intent to kill. What was I supposed to do?
That's the nature of war. People die, homes destroyed, valuables looted. Everything I did was for the purpose of survival. Those that impeded me made my enemies all the more closer. The burnt and destroyed homes delayed my enemies and made it harder for them to track me. The valuables stolen from those that either abandoned their homes or were killed would help me gain safe passage for me and my men back home. Well, I know this isn't what you want to hear. Everything I did was for the sole purpose of assisting me and my men.
Your selfishness, your war, caused the deaths of countless innocents. How can you be so nonchalant about that?
I'm a soldier. I follow orders and do as I'm told. Same as you. Hazel looks up as if to continue arguing, but stops mid-sentence. She lowers her head, contemplating the dwarf's words.
Was he right? can he validate his actions purely for the thought of survival and a soldier's creed?
Someone's coming! Please don't let it be me, please.
A human and a bugbear walk into sight towards the occupied cells. A masked humanoid appears in the doorway. He slowly raises his arm, pointing at Hazel, as the two thugs open her cell and begin dragging her out.
I am Corporal Hazel Brittlebush of the Queen Mother's Woodland Warriors. I demand that you release me, or face the consequences and hooves of Sentinel Awen and his men.
The two beings dragging Hazel ignore her as they move her to the room they came out of. Inside can only be described as a dedicated torture chamber. Various tools and devices litter the room as the human and bugbear yank Hazel up on the table and secure her on her right side. Gagging Hazel, the masked one grabs some tools and heads to Hazel, working on her as the human and bugbear leave. Her muffled screams call out to all that can hear the pain and anguish she feels at the hands of the mysterious and nefarious man. The masked man had spent an hour forcing open the wound she received from her previous battle. Purple wisp of vapor flowed from the injury as the unknown being cut into her flesh and attempted shaping the coalescing purple energy. The foreign entity takes the essence, the purple haze flowing from Hazel, and molds her spirit into a dagger. I've done it! I have shaped another soul! Finally! My experiments have borne fruit! Hazel starts to remember back to the arrow that was embedded in the dwarf's eye from their previous encounter. Seeing the purple energy, Hazel concentrates as hard as she can, slowly forming half of an arrow shaft, and begins cutting through her restraints. Finally, she frees herself, kicking her legs so hard that the ropes break from them, and knocks the masked man up against the wall. Hearing the commotion, the two thugs enter with the intent of restraining her. Focusing, Hazel imagines the form of a bow and begins shaping it in her hands as she draws on the bowstring, aiming at the human, then the bugbear, each receiving a deadly piece of herself. As she draws on the masked one, he presses a button, escaping through a hole in the floor. With a howl of aggravation, Hazel bandages her wound and slowly makes her way out into the prison cells.
Bustrar, look! She's alive! What happened to the others?
The masked man escaped. The others are dead.
Well, what are you waiting for? Open the door and let's get out of here!
The dwarf slowly raises his hand, motioning for Pepno to settle. Looking deep into Hazel's eyes, Buster knows the anguish she feels for all he and his people have brought the forest through war. With understanding, Buster looks up at Hazel and nods his head. Hazel slowly forms her new weapon, pulling back on the crystalline bow and aiming her knocked arrow at Buster. Be quiet, Pepnut! Do what you must, soldier. I won't fight you.
I will.
Buster holds Pepnut out of the way, quieting her with his hand. Pepnut mumbles, doing everything she can to escape Buster's grasp, but to no avail. Hazel holds her bow steady, aiming for the dwarf's heart. Her intent clear, but her mind foggy. Who was she to take a life? Yes, Buster had killed innocents and committed atrocities, but in the end, they served the purpose of helping his brethren and himself. Would she do the same if it came to it? What would Hazel do if under the same circumstances? What will become of the servitor, the Rachno, and the dwarf? A roll of the dice awaits you, my friends. And now, the story is yours to finish. I hope you guys did enjoy this new video on the channel. The story of Hazel. I know I had some hiccups there with some writing and stuff. I'm hoping to get better every time. But real quick, I want to do a huge shout out and thanks to everybody that helped with this. My good friend Cuties for Life for doing the voice of Hazel. My wife for doing the voice of Camus. I did the voice of the narrator and Buster, the dwarf. My good friend Shiloh Strawn for doing the voice of Pepnort. And I believe that's it. But, yes, this video did come out in October, but it was meant for December. Sorry about that. I hope you guys don't mind too much. But for October, we're going to be doing some spooky characters. So I hope you guys are excited. And if you are, head on down to that like button and hit it for me. And if you're new, subscribe so you never miss another Mock Creations YouTube and cosplay content. And some more of our Curious Creation stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you all next time. Bye!